Hi friends, today I will take you through this peaceful lake landscape, a great way to start the new year. You're going to start off by drawing a horizon line about 1/3 up from the bottom of your painting. And then taking clean water, just swipe over the sky portion of the painting. Usually it takes me a couple passes to make sure that the paper is evenly damp. You want it to be wet but not dripping. And then I'm taking some French ultramarine and adding a little bit of Payne's Gray. And then I'm using a size 6 round brush here just to dab that across the sky. I'm focusing mostly along the corners and the top of the painting. I want to create kind of a vignette look to the sky. And I'm also leaving a bit of a portion in the middle that'll have more of a cloud, a very faint abstract cloud. I'm picking up some titanium white here, and I'm using that to blend out some of the blues. It keeps it from looking too pigmented. I want this to be nice and soft. All of the supplies that I'm using in this video can be found in the video description below. I'm continuing to pick up a little bit more of that titanium white just to continue smoothing the edges of the blue. Working along that horizon line, still leaving space for a bit of a cloud in the middle. And then I'm picking up more of the blue mixture here. Since watercolor really lightens up a lot as it dries, I want to be sure that it is most pigmented again at those corners and along the top of the painting. Keep this really light and loose. This definitely isn't precise. It's meant to look like a hazy, cloudy day. And then you can pick up a little bit more of the blue pigment and work along the bottom of the cloud down toward that horizon line, just to create a little more definition between the sky and the ground. After you let that dry completely, come back in and use some clean water to wet the water portion, which we'll do on this bottom third of the painting. I'm picking up a bit of phthalo blue green shade and adding it to the blue mixture that we used previously. I'm doing that so that the water has a slightly different tone to it than the sky. I want them to be distinctly different blues. They still go together since we're using that same original blue mixture, but it looks distinct with that addition of the phthalo blue green shade. Work that from left to right on your paper, and you'll create a bit of a gradient wash so that it's darker toward the horizon and lightens up a little bit as you move your way down. Then after that dries, pick up some green. I'm using mostly sap green here. There's a little bit of Payne's Gray in there, not too much. And starting at the horizon line, I'm going to start adding in some shapes that imply trees and bushes off in the distance, using the tip of that brush to scoot along the horizon line there. You want to go about 3/4 of the way across the page, and then start rounding it around to the left, and this will create the edge of the lake. This doesn't need to be super precise. And then you can also work your green along the very bottom of the page as well. Using different values of green will give you some nice interest in this area. Each time I go back to my palette, I'm either picking up a lighter or darker green than what I first started with. I don't have too much water on my brush at this point. I'm using just enough to mix the paint on the palette and then go back over to the paper. I want the colors of green to stay fairly distinct from each other. If the paper itself were very wet, or if I had more water on my brush, you would see them blend together a lot more, and that's not really the effect I'm going for here. Now that I have all of the green laid down, I'm coming back in and adding some darker areas along that horizon line to draw the eye there, and then I'm starting to scatter it out along the left side and that bottom left corner, as well as a little bit along the horizon line. I will scoot down my palette here so that you can see I'm picking up a bit of a lighter shade. This has a little bit of lemon yellow in the green mixture. It's really subtle. And then continuing to darken the green just a bit. Don't forget that bottom section. You want there to be some variety in there as well. And then I'm closing off this section of the lake. I wasn't loving how that was looking. And then when I did that, it creates this weird dark diagonal line here. So I'm coming back in with some more of that darker value green and just smoothing that out a little bit. You can usually make adjustments to your paintings. If you see areas that you're not totally happy with, don't throw in the towel. Keep messing around with it here and there and see if you can get it looking the way that you want. And then this left side needed a little bit more of an interruption of land, so I'm adding in a little section that juts into the lake. And then picking up a little bit more of that sap green and the Payne's gray. Still going into this area down on the left here until I'm happy with how that looks. And then adding some finishing touches throughout the green. I just want a little bit more variety in this middle section. Instead of being mostly medium green, I want some darker values as well. And then the painting is finished. This one is nice and simple. Let me know how you liked it in the comments, and more mini landscapes to come. My name is Sarah. Thank you so much for joining me for today's tutorial, and I will see you again soon.